Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show. And with me right now, I've got a very special guest. He is a legend of the Attitude Era, former WWE Intercontinental and European Champion. I'm talking about the one and only D'Lo Brown. D'Lo, welcome to Wrestling with Heart.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to dive into this and chop it up a little bit.
Yeah, same here. So talk to me about your childhood. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in New Jersey, small little town called Burlington Township. Is just east of Philadelphia, just right next to the Delaware River, and grew up there in a very country life, if you will. The town was very small. If I fast forward a little bit, my high school had 500 total people in it. That include teachers, janitors, custodial engineers, everybody. So, very small town.
Small town, okay. So get around just fine, go in your car, go to school, come home, work.
Yeah, very simple life, the all-American life. It's just go out there, do everything you need to do, go play sports, and then fall in love with wrestling. That's all I had time for.
So, fan growing up, watched wrestling?
Oh, absolute fan. From the time I was 9 years old, I accidentally scrolled on it on TV, and I remember looking at it, and it was like, I think it was Dusty Rhodes, like bleeding like a stuck pig, and I go, "Grandma, I found real wrestling." And she shook her head at me, and I went back to watching, and there started my lifelong passion of being enamored by the business and sport of professional wrestling.
Now, you were doing sports, as you just mentioned earlier. Was amateur wrestling one of them?
Yes, I amateur wrestled all 4 years of high school, in addition to playing football, and then went on to play football in college. I didn't think I had the chops to amateur wrestle in college. Those guys would just definitely rip me up. So, but I played football and enjoyed it, loved it.
And I'm sure you learned some things that help prepare you for the world of professional wrestling, because it's a different kind of physical work, but you're in there enough to know what to expect, because you're using your body and using it in a way that's different than you would normally do things.
Without a doubt, it teaches you, amateur wrestling teaches you coordination, how to work with your body, to play chess, really, because it's hold, counter hold. So those are things that have helped me not only just in sports but in life. When there's difficult times and you think that you can't escape a hold or something, you calm down, work through it, and before you know it, things have turned around. So amateur wrestling is a microcosm of life.
Yeah, you really have to use your mind, and so when you're really in those holds, you got to get out of it as quick as you can. Now, when you're watching professional wrestling, who are some people that you would say you looked up to growing up? You go, man, I really like what this person's doing. I want to get into this.
Guys I saw were like a young Kurt Hennig, young Ron Simmons, Arn Anderson, guys like that, guys who were just grunt workers and just went out there and performed at the highest level. I had no clue what I was looking at in terms of them being grunt workers. I wouldn't figure that out till later on, till I got in the business. But it was just the hard work, less flashy guys that I really gravitated towards.
Yeah, like the technical aspects. You'd mentioned
Yes.
Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Those guys, and I think it's really fascinating to see what they were able to do as far as like mat work, because I feel like they really like laid the foundation for some of the other people that would follow. And of course, you had your high flyers as well. Talk about the Rey Mysterios and Eddie Guerreros.
Well, yeah, and Great Muta as well. Great Muta was another high flyer in his time. So he was another one that inspired me as well.
Okay. So did you know at a young age I want to pursue professional wrestling?
I remember sitting on the couch with my sister watching, and I think I was 11 years old, 11 or 12. And I remember saying to her, I'm gonna be out there wrestling with those guys. That's what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. And her response was, yeah, right, yeah, right. But lo and behold, some years later, I'm sitting, I just got done wrestling in the Philadelphia Spectrum, and just did the show and got back and said to my sister, and she's like, you know what, you did it, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, I did. I told you I was going to, and I did it.
Yeah, I mean, you caught the bug. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
once you know that you're passionate about this, you got to go for it. And so, wrestling school, I'd imagine with your experience and background with football and amateur wrestling, you were ready. You were ready to be, in the zone as far as training goes. And
Mhm.
they work you hard. It's not easy.
No, wrestling school is more of a war of attrition. It's meant to chase people away, to weed down the people who actually want to be there. So it is not for the weak of heart. It's not for those who are easily pushed out of stuff. It shows, it builds your character, your grit, your determination. Um, Wrestling school really instilled a work ethic in me. And then I got lucky enough to be guys who were at my wrestling school while I was there were Balls Mahoney, Chris Candido, the Headbangers, Glenn and Chaz, they were there. So, I mean, I got to be around a lot of guys who had the same aspirational goals I had before they took off, and I was there as well. So I got to get some real good training from them.
Anything in particular that you learned starting out that stuck with you during your time training?
Uh, One of the big things Jim Cornette told me was keep your mouth shut and your eyes and ears open. You've got one of the greatest spots in the world. You get to sit in the locker room with the likes of Smoky Mountain, the people in there, the Rock and Roll Express, Tracy Smothers, Dirty White Boy. Listen to them how they build matches. Listen to them and watch them how they work the crowd and emulate that. And if you watch, learn, and listen, it'll take you very far in this business.
And there's a lot you can do too, just by watching and observing what's going on because it'll
Mm-hmm.
give you ideas on cool maneuvers you can do in the ring or ideas that you may have for, a certain match down the line that you may want to do and different creative ideas as far as character work. I mean, talk about like some of the cool characters we've seen in professional wrestling. You were a part of one of the most iconic factions of the Attitude Era in the Nation of Domination.
Yes.
People still talk about that to this day. Talk to me about how you got paired up with Ron Simmons and The Godfather, because
Well,
that.
it started out with Jim. I gave Jim Cornette a call, and he had asked where I was, and I said I was down in Puerto Rico, and he goes, "Can you be in New York this Saturday night?" And I think it's like a Tuesday, and I was like, "Sure." And he goes, "Do you have a suit?" And I go, "Of course I do." And when I hung up the phone, I looked at my girlfriend and said, "Hun, I need to go get a suit because I don't have one." And he asked me if I had one. And that was the Shotgun Saturday Night debut where I got Pearl plunged on top the Lincoln by Ahmed Johnson. Um, and it was because of that bump that Vince McMahon took notice of me and kept me coming around. Because if you go back to the Nation days, there was Savio, Crush, Farouk, and then there's Clarence Mason and a bunch of other guys standing behind him in suits and ties. Well, those were all Clarence Mason's fraternity brothers, and none of them were trained wrestlers. So you've got this group getting heat on the good guys, and the good guys can never get even with the bad guys. So they brought me in as that guy in the suit who could be bumped around a little bit and get even.
And of course, it added Mark Henry as well, and
And yes,
someone that went on to go and do bigger and better things.
yeah, there's that guy. He did a couple things after wrestling. I really can't put my finger on it, but he did a couple things.
Of course, we're talking about The Rock, Dwayne
Yes.
Johnson. Uh, when you talk about, being on the road for 300 days a year, you're with
Mhm.
so many people up and down the road, meet friends and share these bonds, these common bonds, and really develop this camaraderie. And it seemed like watching back at some of the footage, you guys seemed to enjoy what you were doing with the segments that the Nation had.
And that is the understatement of the world. We truly enjoy doing it because off camera, we were all friends. So what better place than to go have fun on camera with guys you already love being around, and so it was just an extension of what we were doing in the car, or what we would joke about at the hotels. We got to again then go do it on TV as a group together. So when you say you can see us having fun, it was the greatest time of our lives, and we all enjoyed it, and we got to do it standing next to our best friends.
Did you have any fun stories, any fun road stories you might want to share? A little anecdote or two?
I'll give you one. I remember when Taka Michinoku first came to the WWE. His English wasn't that great, so Jim Ross asked Mark Henry and I if we would drive Taka around. So get him used to the territory, going from town to town to town, teaching him how to get on a plane, that kind of stuff. So cool, no problem, get in. This one particular time, we got a big old van because we were in Columbus. We had to do that showdown in Wheeling, West Virginia, I think it was. And so it's about a 200-mile drive. And so we had this big van. In the van was myself, Mark Henry, Brian Christopher, all of Kai and Ty. Okay.
Hmm.
So Taka is laying down in the van, and he's sleeping. And on the way back, there's this one rest stop about halfway, and there's a McDonald's, a Burger King. And so Mark goes, "Hey, we're coming up on the rest stop." And I go, "Hey, Taka, what do you want to eat?" And at this point, Taka hadn't really, doesn't speak any English. He looks up and goes, "Oh, McDonald's, Burger King, it doesn't matter." And then he puts his head back down. And then he puts his head back up and he goes, McDonald's, Burger King. And right then, Mark and I, bro, you just blew it. You speak perfect English. You are just, and right then he goes, "I'm sorry. My trainer had said, don't tell anybody I speak English." And from that point forward, even in the locker, he'd be like, "Oh, Taka, speak English." And for the longest time, no one thought he could speak English. "Taka, talk to him." And Taka would go, because even then he was keeping the secret. But in
Wow.
the car, he talked just like you and I are talking right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just those moments like you're around all these people like yourselves and Kai and Tai and DX and all these
Mhm.
different factions. We're so over, man. The energy levels were crazy back then too, because you had so many people watching Monday Night Raw during the 90s and early 2000s. We got to talk about your entrance music. I had Gangrel on the show a while back, and we are talking about the
Mhm.
vampire gimmick and his
Yeah.
cool entrance with that. But you had such an incredible entrance as well, the entrance music and the head shake. Talk about that a little bit. Your first reactions to hearing your entrance music for the first time, as well as coming up with your signature head bobbing maneuvers.
Well, I will tell you, I give all the credit to Jim Johnston. He is a musical genius. Um, he has this uncanny way of just watching you walk to the ring and watch your entrance and then creating a beat and a rhythm. He had asked me to bring him a couple samples of music that I like that was contemporary on the radio then to get an idea of beats and tones that I like. And then he's sitting there and he's just shaking his head. He looks at me, he goes, "Hold on a second." And just quickly he does something on the computer and he goes, "What do you think about this?" And he created a track. And I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." Just a little sample of it. He goes, "Okay, I need you to say a couple things in the microphone." And that's when I laughed and I looking at the real whatever that. And he goes, "Okay, cool." He goes, I'll have this ready for you in a couple days." And then the next day, it's like the next week at TV. He goes, they had the music already set there, and I go out and watch the Titantron, and they've already built the Titantron, and they go, "You ready?" And I go, "Yep." And there was the record scratch, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's my music. That's that's for me." And originally it was for Mark Henry and I, but then Mark Henry and I split up, and I get to keep music. But I was like, "That's my music." And then it's become signature and iconic, and people still talk about it today. How it still sounds good today, which is again a credit to Jim Johnston. And it's just weird to have your own theme music that will last longer than I will.
and people still hear it and recognize it, and people go, "Oh, that's D'Lo Brown."
Yeah, yes. As soon as they hear that record scratch, it's me. Look, if you ever see me walking into the gym and I've got my headphones on, know the first song I'm listening to as I'm walking into the gym is my entrance music.
Really?
Really, till this day.
That's so
It
cool.
is as I'm walking the door and I'm checking in, it's playing in my head, literally in my headphones.
Wow. Now, you also hold the cool honor to be the first one to be both the European and Intercontinental Champion at the same time. That had to have been
Yeah,
really amazing to get that recognition.
a tremendous honor. And I remember the day it happened. I thought they were joking with me. I thought it was a rib. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Um, I had just won the European title back like that Sunday from I think it was Midian, and then the next night was Jeff Jarrett, and I see the board and I go, "Okay, cool. We'll do no DQ or so. We'll do a DQ match, something like that." And no, they're like, you're gonna win the IC title." Then I was like, "Are you crazy?" Like, and I had to walk away because the kid inside me was like, "I'm gonna be Intercontinental champ," and so had the match with Jeff Jarrett. Couldn't have been better. Jeff took care of me, and then I remember getting back to the hotel that night, and I had twin beds, and I remember laying both belts on the other bed, and I remember sitting down just looking at them, and immediately my mind started going through all the names of all the guys who have held those championships that I now was going to be linked to forever, and then it dawned on me that I was the first guy to have them both at the same time. And just emotion ran through me because it's yes, it's scripted entertainment and it's but when you win a championship, that's an affirmation of you as a talent. It's the company saying we believe in you enough to make you one of the cornerstones of our company. So it's a big moment, and it's one that I'm till this day I'm honored with. And I if nothing else ever happened in my career after that day, I would have been happy with my career.
You've gotten to work so many people over the course of your career in the wrestling business. Who would you say are some of your favorite opponents that you got to step in the ring with?
Golly. Um, yeah, and I've been in the ring with the who's who on in hundreds, 100 different countries, but in England and Japan and States. I've been in the ring with Great Muta, one of the pleasures of my life. I've been in the ring with Steve Austin and Ron Simmons. Been in the ring with Kawada and Kobashi and Misawa. So like I've been so fortunate with the guys that I've been in the ring with and got to learn from and compete against. Man, I mean, and I hadn't even begun to go about the great matches that X-Pac and I had together. We could have a five-star match in a phone booth. So, man, it just some of as I sit here, I'm like, holy hell, you actually were in the ring with all these guys. Yeah, it's I'm pretty satisfied with the career that I had. I can't keep stating that more and more and more.
Yeah, I mean, getting to work with a lot of the people you'd mentioned, like Rock and Austin, during
Yeah.
that time, and X-Pac and Mark Henry, and so many legends. The Attitude Era just was just so an iconic period of wrestling. Fans still talk about it to this day. Uh,
It was one of those moments in time in wrestling where wrestling connected not just to wrestling fans, but to pop culture and the general population. Like everyone, it was cool to talk wrestling around the water cooler again. It was cool to go to school on a Tuesday and talk about what you just saw on Monday Night Raw. It was cool to have wrestling friends. And for a long time, it wasn't cool to be a wrestling fan. It was a thing you didn't talk about, and you found those small circles. But for the first time, for the first time in a long time, kids were in the lunchroom talking about Steve Austin or DX or the Nation or what The Rock was doing. It was a fun time.
it was very exciting, and you just knew when the show started, you just had to be at your television every
Yeah, it,
week.
it was appointment television, and if you missed 30 seconds, if you missed the first minute, you might miss something that impacts the rest of the night. So
Hmm.
you had to be sitting in front of your TV ready to rock and roll. When the pyro went off, you didn't want to miss a thing.
Yep, the adrenaline rush just kicked in and off it went.
Yes. Yeah, it was a roller coaster that we loved being on. We loved producing. We loved creating. And we were hopeful that everyone loved watching. And we were right about that.
Now, I want to switch gears and talk about some of the stuff you've done outside of wrestling as far as charity work. I know you've been involved with doing a lot of different things in your community.
Hmm.
What kind of things have you done over the years to help out in your community?
Well, and considering the time of year, one of my big things is Toys for Tots. I grew up, we didn't grow up very wealthy. We were, you know, pretty much, we just poor. And I remember we would not get a lot of Christmas presents. But I remember one year I got a Toys for Tots and I got to open it up and it was an Optimus Prime. And I hit the jackpot, hit the lottery. I was like, I can't believe this. So fast forward to when I first got into wrestling, I started making a little money. And I've done this for 31 consecutive Christmases now. I buy an Optimus Prime. I if I have one of my trading cards in there, I'll sign it and I'll slide it in, and then I'll go donate it to Toys for Tots. And I've done that for 31 consecutive years because I want some kid to experience the same feeling I got when I opened up that gem that was an Optimus Prime. And I was like, it didn't matter. It's what I saw on TV. And I make it a point. I buy an Optimus Prime every year. Look, hold on. In this box right here is my Optimus Prime for this year.
Wow.
So that's as soon as I'm going to open that up, I'm taking it down to Toys for Tots later on today. So that's it's close to my heart, and it's something I once again for 31 consecutive years.
It's like a full circle moment right there. You had that happen and then boom, you started a tradition and it just keeps
Yes,
on rolling in from there. So what was it about Toys for Tots? I guess because you had mentioned that you grew up with it, but what other reasons uh that you decided this is what I wanted to do?
because I knew they were the ones that I got a Christmas present from. And it was through the generosity and kindness of others, people who didn't even know me, didn't, were anonymous, that they donated these toys, and it was all about expressly to make a child happy. And so I just wanted to give that same feeling to some kids somewhere, wherever I was. So it's what I do. It's what I'll continue to do. And it's just near and dear to my heart.
Was there a particular event that you were a part of, whether it was with Toys for Tots or another charity organization that you got to help out with that was very heartwarming for you?
I did a few celebrity softball games for breast cancer awareness, because my mother passed away from cancer. So these are things that they connect with me and they resonate with me. I never ever like to broadcast my charity work. I just like to do, because I think when you're doing something out of the kindness of your heart, the only affirmation you need is from your heart telling you did good. I don't need someone to pat me on my back telling me I did a good job for that. It's just what we do. So I hope everyone in this season of giving now, that is the holiday season. I hope everyone finds it in their heart to give to those who are less fortunate to them, because you never know that kid, that family, that battered housewife who's in trouble. That one little simple gift you give could redirect the course of their lives, and you just don't know how much impact it has or could have on them.
Yeah, I like what you said there because you never know what somebody's going through, and it
Hmm.
does create an impact, to be able to make someone's day, brighten their day up, even with just a simple hello, how are you? It just
Yeah,
kindness really goes a
absolutely.
long way. It really does.
Yeah, and you put it eloquently. When we walk past hundreds of people, thousands of people every day, and we have no clue what their story is, what they're going through, what their struggle is. So be kind to others and treat others as you want to be treated, and I think this world will be a lot better place.
Exactly. On another note, like when you go to these conventions and signings, there was one year I think I saw you at a WrestleCade or WrestleCon, and I saw that you had a lot of people coming up to you and a lot of people walk up to you. I mean, it has to feel good inside to know that these people remember you and have these fond memories of your career?
Yeah, without a doubt, you get when you think about that, you did something that touched someone's life when they were younger or a teenager, and now they're 35 or 40, and they're walking up to you, and you in their eyes, you can see that 10-year-old kid who first saw you. To have that effect, that positive effect on people, it's a blessing, and I continually uh, try to always emphasize how lucky I've been in life that I'm in a position where I can positively affect people's lives. And whenever I'm at a convention, I make sure that anytime someone walks up to me and talks to me, I will talk, 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 because for me, it's a minute or two interaction. For the person that is coming up to me, that could be what they've been looking for years. That could be a moment they're going to tell their kids about, and I'm going to make sure that it's a positive experience, because in been said many times, people don't care what you say or do. It's how you make them feel that they remember forever. And I want them to have a positive experience whenever they're around me.
It's all about making memories. It really
Mhm.
is, and it just
Absolutely.
and it's something that they'll treasure forever.
Yes, without a doubt. And if I can continue making memories for anyone who comes up to see me, and at the same time, it's memories for me because I get to see this smiling face or these bright eyes. I never forget that. That makes it all worthwhile.
Not to mention, reconnecting with old faces you haven't seen, familiar
Yeah.
faces, uh, some you hadn't seen in years.
Yeah, when you're around, particularly like when it's the boys and you get this, I haven't seen you in 5 or 6 years, but the cool thing about wrestlers is, and you've probably heard this before, is I can be your friend and not talk to you for 10 years. And when we see each other, we hug and we pick up the conversation like we started talking 5 minutes ago. And we just go, 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 go. And it might be another 5 years, but the conversation picks right back up again. So it is that's the added bonus of going to these conventions, is getting to see the guys that I was on the road with for 300 days a year that I haven't seen in some time, and to reconnect with them, and to catch up with what's going on with their lives. So it's these conventions are twofold, but they're all benefits.
Was there a particular one or story that you might have of someone you hadn't seen in a long time, and it was like magic the first time you'd seen them in years?
I remember being at, I think it was WrestleCade. It might have been, it was when WrestleMania was in Orlando. And I'm doing a signing, and I hear that Edge is like in the box right next to me. And I hadn't seen him in forever. So I go, excuse me 1 second. I get up and I walk into his room, into his booth, and walk right up and hug him like I've missed him. And we were like, it's that love story where two people come running together, hug each other, and just hugged him and told him how much I missed him, how much I loved him. And to hear that come right back from him, um, those are the stories and memories that I hold on to long after the crowd stopped cheering and long after I'm not signing any autographs. Those are the moments I'll remember.
It's that brotherhood, sisterhood, man, that camaraderie as we
Yes.
talked about earlier, getting the chance to be around these people and getting the chance to have those moments last a lifetime, and have stories to share that, from the times you missed out on, but you're catching up. So that's
Hmm.
so cool that you got that chance to reconnect with Edge.
When you're around these people for 300 days a year and you become your traveling family around the country, there are times when I was with Mark Henry more than I was with my own family because we were traveling 300 days a year. So if I miss a birthday at home, I tend to get a birthday I get Mark's birthday, or I get Ron's birthday, or I get Rocky's birthday. Not that it makes one better than the other, but it kind of eases the pain a little bit. And you get to celebrate birthdays and holidays when you get home, and that makes it all worthwhile.
It definitely does. Who are some people that you say you keep up with currently?
Oh, I can tell you right now, we still have a whole text chat group with the whole nation. So we text regularly, and just about anything. I'll talk to Ron Simmons about Florida State football. I'll talk to Godfather about what strain of weed I should try. I talked to Mark Henry about where we should go to eat, and what's the best restaurants in Austin. So it's cool to have that chat group, just hanging out with the boys. And then most of the guys I talk to on the regular, I still talk to, Bull Buchanan, and I just I've chatted with X-Pac. I can't even, there are guys you just shoot off and chop it up with, and it's cool to have that brotherhood. They're lifelong friends that I made 30 years ago that I'll have 30 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, it's so amazing to have people you're still in touch with and to have those memories still, live on and create new ones as we're talking about. Oh, man. D'Lo, I want to say thank you so much for coming on to Wrestling with Heart. It means a lot to me and to my listeners and viewers that are watching this on YouTube. Where can people find out more about you on social media? If there's anything you want to plug, feel free.
You can always hit me up on Twitter, X at D'Lo Brown 75. I used to say I was the only verified check mark, but since you can buy it for $3.99, there's a lot of blue check marks out there. You can hit me up on Instagram at D'Lo Brown LFC, and I'll talk Liverpool football, Chicago Bears, and all things wrestling. If you ever need to know where I'm going, where I'm going to be, that's the easiest place to find out.
All right. Well, thanks again, D'Lo, and you're more than welcome to come back.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, and I appreciate the invitation. I definitely will come back. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care.
Appreciate you.
Bye-bye. This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.